Welcome to the Healers Café, conversations on health and healing with Dr. Manon.
So welcome to the Healers Café. And today I'm super excited because I have Professor Dr. George Grant with me. And let me just tell you a little bit about him. He got his PhD at U of T in 1995. He is known as the caring doctor, and I can certainly vouch for that, is considered the Canadian Authority of Integrative Functional Medicine and a global wellness ambassador. Professor Dr. George Grant is an expert in biofeedback, stress, anti-aging, and natural pain management. He helped clients at Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto recover from clogged arteries, as well as 10,000 clients worldwide. And I have had the pleasure of working with him. And also, clogged arteries, let me tell you, this is definitely one of the biggest issues that we're starting to see currently in this non-pandemic. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Manon. Really appreciate the invitation. Thank you.
So, I'm going to ask you the question that I ask absolutely everybody, just to get a kind of a background of how did you get drawn into this type of medicine? And so give me a little bit your background. I know you've done tons of research.
Okay. Before I start, I just want to make a disclaimer. I did work for Health Canada and the FDA and the CDC for over 10 years. And none of the stuff that I'm talking today with Dr. Manon is endorsed by any way or shape or form by Health Canada, the FDA, or the CDC, or USDA, or FTC. It's my personal opinion. I just want to make sure that this is crystal clear. We're not diagnosing, treating anybody. Yes, I do have 3 doctorate degrees. Yes, I have 3 masters. Yes, I published 150 papers. I've read 20 books. But everything we're going to discuss today, it's about my own personal experience. And I'm going to answer that question now. At 18 years young, Dr. Manon, my mother passed away at age 41. So at age 18, I was orphaned, no mom. And then dad passed away after that. I have never seen my grandparents from both sides. So that put a lot of pressure on me at age 18. Either I have to become a victim or to become a victor to find out what could I have done to help my mom and my dad to reverse their heart disease, their diabetes, their heart problems, and all of blood pressure and the medication that they've been taking and all of the stuff. So I start to search and research. And after 55 years, I'm 70 right now. I know I look younger. Thanks, Dr. Manon.
I was going to say, you didn't give me a chance.
But I feel younger, even though my genes are really bad from both parents and grandparents, even for 4 or 5 generations down. I'm at 71 healthy. I don't have any medications. I do not do any of this stuff. So this is what compelled me to answer your questions, to study integrative medicine, functional medicine, and lifestyle medicine. I do personally believe that everything we do is the food that we eat, the food we do not eat, and the food that is eating us. Because some people don't even understand that they are not eating real food. 90% of the stuff in the supermarkets today, it's all sad. It's really like all of the junk food that we see in the boxes and cans and in the shelves, so artificial colors and flavors and all of this stuff. It's not real food. It's really something resemble food. So I recommend for people to go and eat real food, because let your food be thy medicine and your medicine be thy food. That's what I believed in. So I think if mom and dad follow that rule, they would be still around today. But they did not. They had very bad habits in eating. And when I was young, I followed the same habits. I was adding 3 teaspoons of sugar in my tea and coffee, which is not supposed to be done this way. And now I learn not to use sugar, but to use stevia. And I start to learn about the connection between diet and disease. Is there really a connection? And the answer is absolutely yes. Now, if somebody want to disagree with me, they want to arm wrestle me on this, I'm willing to do that. It doesn't matter what kind of qualification they have. It doesn't matter how long they have been studying, because I've been there. I've been doing that. I worked with Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Harvard Medical School at the International Pain Conference in Chicago in the year 2015. I've done extensive work in my career. You know what, Dr. Manon? I wish I know what I know today at age 18, which is almost impossible for a teenager to know all of the stuff that are accumulated in the past, 40 plus years. But had I known how to prevent diabetes, hypertension, and heart problems, my mom and dad, and I did not see my grandparents, they could have been alive today. So there's a connection between diet and disease, yes. So in our model here, Dr. Manon, we care, we serve, we educate. We do not medicate, we do not operate, we do not irradiate, we do not vaccinate, and we do not irritate. This is really my motto here, because we use devices like the one I did for you. It's called the AO mobile scan. This device here detect and correct things by frequency. It's one of those latest devices that I used, and I've been using biofeedback devices for almost like 40 plus years. This is the one I use now very successfully because I can use on Zoom. Like, we never met in person. You're in British Columbia, I'm in Toronto. Like, it takes about 4.5 hours to fly. I lived actually in Vancouver for 10 years. Without flying, I can just do this through either a phone or through a Zoom virtually. And that's what the device allowed me to detect and correct frequency. So to answer your question, what is my passion about this is to help people to understand what is the real cause of these situations. I help them to wean themselves off gradually of blood pressure medications, diabetes medications. Yes, I had 10,000 clients. That was actually 5 years ago. As we speak today, in the year 2021, my total clientele all over the world is over 20,000 clients across Canada, across the US, across the Caribbean countries, and Europe. 20,000 clients. Yeah, we help them.
So
we definitely.
I really, I definitely want to use our time because
Yes.
I think you have lots of options too. There are so many people, and this is, shown in bears, though because of the incredible censorship, we can't even post official documents anymore, even if they're, 1/100th of the likelihood of severe problems that are coming from, and I would rather call them injections because it's a different principle than vaccines. I don't believe that they actually are that. And it's literally injecting a spike protein into the body, and the spike protein is the toxin. And unlike the literature, that they said it would all stay in the deltoid and it would be gone in 48 hours, all things that they couldn't know. And now with biopsies, they've seen that it actually has gone to many organs, and it's deeply affecting the circulation. And therefore, that's why we're seeing all these clots, we're seeing strokes, we're seeing heart attacks, we're seeing all of these, terrible effects.
Yes.
So without going into, whether you did it or you didn't, because there was a fear campaign. That was the biggest virus, telling people that they should do it and protect themselves from something that was 99.97, whatever, large number, actually not deadly. But now we have people who, who are busy, who are, they just want to get on with their life. They're told that, they won't see their grandparents, or an aunt that has cancer, or they're told all these things, and they don't have time to research. The news doesn't cover anything but it's safe and blah, 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 which we know it's not. What can they do if they've already taken it and they're aware that they better do something to help themselves?
That's a great question, Dr. Manon, because in the year 2000, when I was at Health Canada, I was actually in charge of all of the quarantine and all of the stuff that for SARS, the coronavirus, at that time, the year 2000, almost like, my goodness, that is almost like 21 years ago now. And I was in charge of every cruise port and every airport across Canada. And none of what I'm saying now is going to endorse by Health Canada or the FDA or the CDC. But I tell you something, we found only one case of Norwalk virus in one of the cruise ship resolved in 24 hours. And one hemorrhagic fever in one of the Pearson Airport in Toronto that were resolved within 24 hours after quarantine. No lockdown at that time. And at that time, some drug companies tried to make, basically they call it gene therapy or vaccine. You wanna call it whatever you wanna call it. It did fail the animal trials. Now I'm a toxicologist licensed in Canada and the US. I'm also a microbiologist. I'm an epidemiologist. If your clients would like to check me out, go to academyofwellness.com and look at my bio. And everything I'm saying is evidence-based. Everything I'm saying is scientifically valid and proof. The proof is there in the pudding. I was never been censored by either Facebook or LinkedIn because they know my credentials and they know my qualifications. So if they want to censor Dr. Tempini or my friend Dr. Botar or some other doctors, this is their choice. But I have not been censored so far. If you look at my website, academyofwellness.com, I published something in January 20, in the year 2020, former Health Canada, FDA, CDC, senior consultant recommendations to overcome COVID-19. I have it there, date stamped. To tell you the truth, when I put this post on my website, I recommended to take between 8,000 to 10,000 vitamin D3, between 3,000 to 5,000 vitamin C milligrams, and to take 80 milligrams of zinc every single day. I did not have any publications to justify that. It was based on 40 plus years experience. But guess what, Dr. Manon? Last month, there was 4,800 publications in refereed medical journals to show what I've recommended 2 years ago was absolutely valid to validate vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc to boost the immune system. I don't see many, like I know you're a very prominent natural doctor, which I do admire you and I worked with you. And you talk to the people about boosting the immune system, how to improve your thymus to make your healthy T cells and NK cells. And this is what we need. We need vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc. Of course, we need vitamin A, and we need all of the other minerals like magnesium and potassium. But these are the key things, the 3 things that I actually published on my blog, which you can go ahead and look at it.
But you know, it's funny when you say that. So in March 2020, I actually also let people know, I said, look, we don't know what this is, right? So, but it's, you know, if it's a virus or whatever, all we need to do is boost our own immune system. And I actually said pretty well the same thing, because that's what we do. And I got a letter suspending my license. So what happens here, and I think people need to know that, is we have an official gag order, as do Canadian doctors as well. So we are really not allowed to say that. Now, I had no idea. I got back from Mexico, you know, I had no idea that we were going to be actually, you know, gagged for wanting to do preventative work, which is the foundation of our work as naturopathic doctors, right? So,
Dr. Manon, you're not the only one.
I know.
I've written 20 books. One of them, it's called the Holistic Health Book. It was written by one of the top Canadian doctors who lives in Toronto. His name is Dr. Akbar Khan. He's one of my colleagues. He's one of my, you know, basically we've done research together. He published something. He's a cancer doctor, and he published something in a refereed medical journal that he used something called DCA therapy for cancer, dichloroacetate, and he showed efficacy of over 90%. Now, as you know, chemotherapy has only efficacy of 5% or less, and toxicity of 95%. By the way, I'm a toxicologist, and everything I'm saying is evidence-based. If you want to argue with me, if you want to arm wrestle me, go ahead. And then the doctor got a letter from CMA to say that you cannot recommend this, even though it shows efficacy in your published paper. You have to recommend chemotherapy, radiotherapy, because you're an MD. And right now, his license is in question. I am his expert witness in court. I would love to face any lawyer from CMA. I'm going to display with them my qualifications. And then I want to arm wrestle with them to bring Dr. Akbar Khan back into his seat to helping people to reverse cancer at 90% success rate, not 5% toxicity rate. You're not the only one who has been censored. You're the only one who is punished. But okay, we have a bigger issue here that all of the stuff that is published now, if it does not favor any big pharma, I have no to go against big pharma. I actually did work for the generic pharmaceutical company for 1 year. I developed a drug for Apotex Inc. It's called flutamide for prostate cancer. I developed another drugs for some other major companies. No axe to grind. I've written books with the top doctors in the country. And I don't have no axe to grind against physicians or big pharma at all. And you know me well since my work at Health Canada, the FDA and the CDC. But what I do not like, Dr. Manon, is this. Give somebody blood pressure medication for the rest of their lives to say, you gotta take this. So when I help somebody in 3 to 4 months to reduce their dependency on hypertensive medications, diabetes medications, like I'm trying to educate them about metformin, which can cause cancer. So I tell them metformin is not the answer for your diabetes, your lifestyle is the answer. Now, have I committed any scientific mistake here by telling them that? Because lifestyle medicine, I'm not sure whether you know this or not, it's actually board certification now in the US. You become lifestyle medicine doctor. Then you can get 4 years and you can get board certified. And so is integrative medicine. I work with the top integrative medicine doctors in the world at Cleveland Clinic and Johns Hopkins and Mayo Clinic. If you doubt integrative medicine, IM, FM, LM, then you need to really revisit my website, academyofwellness.com, and think about what you're resisting here. Because we're trying to help people to understand if something has 99.7% success rate in recovery, like any flu, so we can say COVID-19 is basically a mini flu. Okay, it's not. What some people die from the COVID because of pre-existing conditions. We know that. Sure. Somebody actually died from a motorcycle accident in Highway 401 in Toronto. They tested him for the COVID-19 and he was positive. And in his death certificate, he died not from the motorcycle accident, he died from the COVID-19. Yeah. Now, I'm telling you something now. Listen to me, please. When the doctor signed death certificate that has COVID-19 positive, they get 5,000 to 10,000 extra. Have we traded our integrity to put for somebody died from a motorcycle accident? And if the police said he died in the motorcycle, why would they take a nose swab from somebody who's dead to show that he's COVID-19 to get that $10,000 from the government? And we have people dying from pre-existing condition like diabetes or hypertension or heart disease, elderly people, and they died from COVID-19. So all of the statistics now produced by CDC, I'm going to tell you right now, it's flawed. If you don't believe me, go to VARES, the adverse drug reactions from the CDC, and it's not properly reported because of pre-existing condition. The death rate from COVID is still under 0.2, 0.3% worldwide. But when we have death rate exceeding that because of the faulty RT-PCR test, which the inventor himself said that it cannot be used for diagnosis. Exactly, so based on the cycle rate, which is the amplification rate of this test, everybody will be like false positive. So please, if you really study toxicology, pharmacology, and if you study epidemiology and microbiology like I did, and then you tell me that RT-PCR test is accurate, let's have a face-to-face discussion at Dr. Manon show here, and I'll open my cards, you open your cards, and let's just have an open discussion, friendly discussion. I don't fight. I do everything scientifically. By the way, I was a scientist before I became a doctor. I have my PhD first, and then I became IMD and DHS.
I did not know that. Yeah. Well, you definitely have all the qualifications, and the truth is that there are many qualified experts that are, saying parts and pieces of everything you're saying, and that are being completely censored. And if you don't know about Rumble and BitChute and and Brighton and Audion, I've learned so much. I did not know. You can't Google anything anymore. Nothing. Mercola, who's always been an advocate, he's had to censor all of his things. It's terrible. But what I'd like to switch to, because I'm an optimist, and this is a horrible situation that we're in. And there are people who have taken it in good faith because they believe in the government, they believe in authority, and they believe in, well, I see what's interesting too, the way this was rolled out, many of the doctors, you didn't always get a chance to ask your doctor. You just go to whatever clinic and you can get it done. And, and in the States, you go to a Walmart or wherever, So informed consent was absolutely missing because
I know.
So anyway, but I'm bringing up things I don't like. That's all there. What I want are solutions. So I want to what can we do if a person has had 1 shot, 2 shots, and before they even consider boosters, what can they do?
My recommendations, Dr. Manon, is this. The first step, go to academyofwellness.com. And then you're going to see the device called AO Mobile Scan there. In this device, we detect and correct frequency like I've done with you from your 12 seconds voice. We can get voice print. And guess what this device have, Dr. Manon? You can see here, I hope you can see this clearly in the screen.
Yeah.
It has vaccination detox. It has virus detox. Mm-hmm. It has all of the stuff done through 2 minutes of frequency to neutralize the side effect of all of the mRNA vaccines and all of the thromboembolism from AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson that cause clotting.
Right. Hi, I'm Dr. Manon Bolliger, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you for watching these podcasts. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Also, feel free to leave comments and like it. This way, more people get to find out about this work and about other choices for health. So I think it's really important that we all share this information. I have a free gift to you. It's a 7-sequence email that has tips for every day, and it's a little insight about how to live your life when it comes to health. And it's very much built on how I managed to overcome stage 4 cancer and what it took. So I would love you to have this, and thank you once again for listening to these podcasts. Right.
So by doing this one here, it's very, very simple to normalize that if they had the first shot or the second shot. Actually, they're talking about doing a 3rd booster shot for the variant, Delta variant. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, last week there was a cruise ship. All of the staff has been vaccinated. All of the passengers by law has to be vaccinated, and they have 15 cases of COVID. Can you explain that to me? I only have 3 doctorates, 3 masters, 3 bachelors. I only published 250 papers. Now they told us this is safe. Oh, really? So you've done animal study to show it's safe? No. You've done human clinical trial to show it's safe? No, it's going to be complete by 2023. So they have the approval, fast track approval from the FDA to approve it fast track because of this serious pandemic that we're living in. I'm sorry, this is not the biggest pandemic we're living in. The biggest pandemic we're living in is diabetes, obesity. I call it diabesity. It's hypertension that people are taking drugs for the rest of their lives, and heart problems, which is the #1 leading cause of death. These are the biggest pandemic here. Our lifestyle has to change because we eat the standard American diet, SAD, SAD, or the standard Canadian diet, SCT. Those the diet that cause problem. Those are the diet that cause up. But if somebody have taken the vaccination and they wonder, you go to academyofwellness.com. I have a Calendly website to book in on my calendar. And then I just mentioned Dr. Manon. I'll do this for them for 2.5 minutes. And then I'll help them to detox their body from either the virus or the vaccination or both. And this device here is able to actually do a voice analysis, like I've done for you, vital analysis, all of the CBC blood test, and also comprehensive analysis equivalent to the basically the CAT scan, PET scan, MRI with 95% accuracy and reproducibility. Okay, so this is what we can do here.
Okay, so so this mechanism, and I didn't know that you could do that with this because we haven't talked recently. We've both been super busy, but now that I was going to answer the variant question in a minute, but what? Oh, actually, I will tie it in because the studies now from Israel, and I think it's called Seychelles, the island, which are the most vaccinated amounts, actually have the most cases of the so-called variants.
Exactly.
And again, I'm not going to go into all the mechanisms of why people get sicker, but as we're going to come to the fall and winter, and there's going to be the usual, coronas and the usual flus and their usual whatever, they are more primed to get sick, not protected. And we're seeing that already, in countries that are ahead of us schedule-wise. But my question is, so if the immune system is compromised, when you're dealing with everything with frequency, that is so you're not suggesting that they also continue, take vitamin D, do the usual.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, they have to do both. 100%. Okay. This is just like basically to get the body going to actually restore the thymus health, which makes T cells and K cells. But taking the vitamin D and vitamin C and zinc every day, this is essential along with this, 100%. And the reason that we have something like, they call it now, the fourth phase that's coming in September, October, because we get less sunshine, we get less vitamin D. And even in the southern part of the world, below the equator, they have dark skin. They have too much melanin pigment. They cannot absorb vitamin D from the sun. So they have to physically take vitamin D. Yeah. And doctors, you know what? I know you know this. Why doctors recommend 400 to 800 IU when we need 5,000 to 10,000 IU? This is a therapeutic dose. Yeah. And some doctors called me and he said, how come you're recommending toxic dose to my client, 10,000? I said, I'm a toxicologist. I taught in the faculty of pharmacy and medicine for the undergraduate and the graduate level. And I told him to go to vitamindcouncil.org to see the toxic dose of vitamin D. And there's no toxicity. I can send you the information if you want. And he looked at it. I looked at my website and he called me back after 2 hours. He said, my apologies, Dr. Grant. You're right. There is no toxic dose for vitamin D. And I'm going to start myself to take 5,000, 10,000 as you recommended. So he's somebody, is a physician, open-minded. But some people are like this. Like, okay, if they learn the medical school is 800 does not do anything for anybody. No. In fact, if you expose to the sun for about 2 hours, you get 800 IU vitamin D. So why do you bother taking vitamin D anyway? Yeah. So, but 8,000 to 10,000 is therapeutic dose to prevent not just COVID, any virus. Exactly. No, Coxsackie virus, EBV virus, any bacteria. It will protect you against any virus or bacteria or fungus. That's what I recommend. Now,
as far as the impact, so one of the impact of this spike protein is that it goes into the microcirculation and clogs areas all over. But in the cadaver studies that they've done, they've seen that it does cross the blood-brain barriers.
It does.
The brain.
Proven.
Yeah. And also one of the concerns I have is the ovaries.
Yes.
And then it also the testes for male infertility. So both. So is that something that you, because this, the only research you can do is as we speak, it's concurrent, right? Have you been able to put, I don't know, hundreds of people, or I don't know how many people you've been able to help at this stage? And are you intending to do research on this too?
I helped 10 dozens of people in the past month only, Dr. Manon, and I've seen some ladies in their young life, they have irregular period. The period becomes either profuse bleeding. Right. So it's something to do, like who have taken I said, why? You're 30, why would you take the vaccine? Anyway, but they took it. I'm not going to argue with that. So we did the work with the AO mobile scan. We'll give them the vitamin D and the C and the zinc. But now I found that irregular bleeding for women and problem with male fertility, as you mentioned, couple unable to basically conceive a baby. And then we found lots of clotting. And this is what we've seen now is just the tip of the iceberg, because this is the acute symptoms. We have not seen the chronic symptom, which will appear in about 2 to 3 years, when the actual vaccine is going to be approved by the FDA by the year 2023, officially. But by the way, I'm not sure whether you know this or not. The FDA said we will not approve this by the year 2023, because the preliminary study showed that it cannot be 100% safe, but we approve for emergency purpose only. So if this is not going to be approved in 2 years from now, why people are lowering their arms and taking this shot? And the drug company don't have any liability, zero liability from drug company.
No, I heard that too, but what I understood is that they're not going to approve it also because the testing has been botched. In other words, the placebo group for ethical, humane reasons, we're all given this.
Yes.
So then we don't actually have anything to follow with. And
Exactly.
it looks like there's a lot more that has come out from the original testing, which was only a very tiny short period.
Yep.
That there's actually a lot of, priasms and causing, neurological diseases and all kinds of other.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay. I'm glad to hear it from you directly. That's what you've seen too. So what, so if somebody's listening to this, which there will be, and they're like, oh my God, I thought I was protecting myself.
Yeah.
We're not, right? That this,
100%.
No.
The best way, Dr. Manon, is to go to academyofwellness.com and click on Wellness IQ. It's 10 questions to show you or anyone else the score. It's supposed to be above 75% if you're healthy. Could you believe me if I tell you my 20,000 clients have an average score of 55%? 55%. All of them are shallow breather. All of them are dehydrated. They drink more soda and coffee than water. I said, your body is made from 70% plus water. If you drink a coffee or soda, you're going to be dehydrated. And if you do not do belly breathing, you're going to be tired. You're going to have headache. You're going to have a snoring at night. You're going to have sleep apnea because oxygen is so important. So if they go to the Wellness IQ at academyofwellness.com, if they email me the results and just mention Dr. Manon, interview, I will do everything I can for them at no cost. And I'll spend the whole hour with them to do this at no cost. Okay. This is my contribution because I do not want to see any teenager at age 18 losing their mom and dad because of lifestyle issues. Yeah. That's what killed my mom and dad. Bypass did not work. The stent did not work. And I know you quoted me for the study that I had. The guy was 99% clogged arteries, taking 28 medications, 2 bypass, 2 stents. I'm not saying that I'm better than any cardiologist there. The cardiologists do whatever they wanted to learn from the 4 years medical degree and then 3 years becoming an intern, becoming a specialist as a cardiologist. But that's what they knew. At 28 meds and do 2 bypass and 2 stents, and the guy still have tachycardia, arrhythmia, and he was sent to hospice to die. 9 months, improving his lifestyle, 50% open, no meds, no bypass, no stents. You'll be happy to know Dr. Manon. He's still alive today. He was 79 then. Today he's 101 and he's still alive. This is the reason we do what we do. We help people to live to 101 and beyond. There's a reason we do what we do here. And then I know you have the same passion and the same mission that I do have. And that's why I've loved working with somebody like you who is knowledgeable. And you should be awarded the Nobel Prize, not to be banned or censored by any way or shape or form because you're telling the truth. And I made the disclaimer initially that this is not endorsed by Health Canada or the FDA and the CDC. If somebody want to come and chop my head off or accuse me of having conflict of interest, well, then I do not have any conflict. I feel like I'm sharing the things that I know personally to be true. The truth and the science will override any other political argument.
I so agree with you. And that's why for me, it's, yes, you must be informed. We can't just take anything just for granted. Do your homework. But once you find enough evidence, it becomes the truth. It's like there are enough people that are saying the same thing that don't make extra money for it. In fact, their whole lives goes to shambles. And many of the people in Canada and in the States and everywhere in the world that have stood out to share the truth with their patients, because the thing is, we take an oath to first do no harm.
Do no harm. This is the Hippocratic oath. But okay, let me ask you a question. If any physician recommending Celebrax, which is COX-2 inhibitor, same as Vioxx, which was banned, do they tell their clients that Celebrax, COX-2 inhibitor, can actually cause heart attack like Vioxx? They don't. Do they tell patients that metformin for diabetes, which is FDA warned that can cause cancer, do they tell them that? No, they don't. Well, this is doing harm. I'm sorry. I have no axe to grind against physician because I do work with them. I publish books with them, and I do all of this work with them. But when they do not disclose all of the stuff here, then they're doing harm. I'm sorry. They're doing harm. And that is what the point is. You and I, we have complete disclosure. We have like an open book. We practice let your food be thy medicine and your medicine be thy food. we don't say anything more than what we can tell our clients to reduce their dependency on medication by improving the lifestyle. There's nothing wrong with that. If any physician or any scientist disagree that lifestyle is so important, then you know what? They should go back to school and learn lifestyle medicine and become board certified in the US. I hope in Canada they would have the same rule here, but we're still in the process. In fact, I'm teaching a course as we speak right now for the World Organization of Natural Medicine to imply that we need doctors to be integrative medicine before they actually give the first prescription, because we have to integrate allopathic medicine AM with IM, FM, LM, and that would be the best, marriage of all of the 4 modalities here together. And that's what I'm actually teaching. I would invite you to come and join us tonight. I'm actually teaching some doctoral student tonight, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. I would love to come and share your story and share what we just talked about in the past half an hour, because those doctoral students would love to see somebody like me who have the same passion like you, Dr. Manon. They will be so excited to hear you. And most of them, like 80% of them, are women like you, so they can identify more with you. Because when I talk about the period, what does this guy know about the period? He does not have a period. But when you talk about the period, then you understand what I mean.
Okay, well, very good. I think we're actually at our time. I guess I want to end also just with the idea that, that truth wins.
Yes.
And that all the corruption and the paying and the way the financial system works and the incentives and all of this, people should look for this because it exists. It's it is how our system works. And I feel like when all of this gets discovered and come to light, because it will come to light, it's already clear. There are many, many amazing lawyers fighting this on all grounds.
Yes.
So I really want to acknowledge, all of them and all the doctors who have and scientists who have spoken the truth.
Yes.
But it will come out. And I also want that the people who got caught in this with their eyes closed or no time or whatever. I mean, yes, there are excuses. We ultimately are all responsible of what we put through our body. So I want to make that clear. I'm not making tons of excuses for them, but it is also the time where we've had the most concerted propaganda and unified single voice in our media and highest censorship that we've had in ages, certainly in my lifestyle, but in lifetime, but certainly from others, it seems that way. So I don't want anyone to feel like they made a terrible mistake. Don't go there, just go forward. Here are things that can be done. And I love, and I want to thank you for that. If they call you or connect with you, go to your website, that you will do an assessment and the scan that can make such a difference. I really, really want to thank you so much for that incredible offer.
And remember, it's the secret to living healthy and happy is self-love. I always actually mention something start with L: love, learn, let go, laugh, because laughter is the best medicine, and then leave a legacy. If all of us did this, whether you're a naturopath, whether you're allopath, whether you are osteopath, whether you're a psychopath, it doesn't matter who you are. But just
psychopath.
All of this.
Hopefully their legacies will be gone. Okay.
Laughter is the best medicine.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Manon. All the best.
Thank you for joining us at the Healers Café with Dr. Manon. For more information, go to drmanonbolliger.com.